Outstanding.
Aren't these wonderful?
Yes, they are. They really are.
I bet you could make some. Class, thanks for nothing. Class.
That's unusual to find that.
Welcome to the third tech session, and today we're going to have John and Tom Brady and Don Brady here somewhere to give a presentation on the authenticity of your tools, so that when you go on the championship division and the Encore, you'll have actually the correct tools, so they'll tell you what's right. So John and Tom, turn it over to you.
Thank you, Tom. Let me just test this thing. It is working. Thank you. Okay, so we're starting off here with a slide of a very nice XK120 tool roll in a repro roll with all the correct parts. So just to give you a quick summary here, we're going to give a short presentation, and then we'll let everybody come up and look at the tools so we can discuss them individually. This short presentation talks about our backgrounds a little bit and how we started this. So we've been actively collecting tools for about 15 years now, and that's what you see in here. These are the best ones. We have others as well. My brother Tom, his first car was a Mark 7, and some of the tools that you see here in the Mark 7 collection were from that car. And as well as myself, I have an XK120 that had a few tools in it when I got it, and those are part of the collection as well. And that was in 1974. Tom got his car in 1967. His first car was a Jaguar.
Right. If you can believe it, the first car I ever owned was a Jaguar Mark 7, and I still own it. And it's still a project that is yet to be completed. However, it is registered, it is on the road, and it's drivable.
It's a rolling restoration.
Right, it's a rolling restoration.
Right. Yeah, a lot of the parts we bought on eBay, both on the US and the UK site, and they're getting dearer and dearer. The prices keep going up. So throughout the years, there were very few references on these tools. But in the past 4 to 5 years, there's been a lot of references that have turned up. The first one was on XK120, and it was the Schmidt book, Jaguar XK120, Anatomy of a Cult Object. And this book is absolutely fantastic. And us XK120 guys call it the Bible. And
Yes, it's very exciting reading. I'm seeing some women out there, and I'm sure that they'd love to have this by their bedstand. It's riveting material.
This came out about 10 years ago, and there's an excellent section on tools. Roger Payne from Australia is an expert on tools as well. And he has edited a section he actually edited this whole book on XK140, Jaguar XK140 Explored. And there's an excellent section in there on XK140 tools. And then a year ago, Bernard Bayard released a second book, or companion book, on XK120 Explored. And in that book as well is an excellent section on tools with illustrations and all the correct tools.
How many people in here own that book?
Yeah, see, it's
I
5.
just wanted to see how strong your arm looked from the lifting that book, because the thing weighs about 20 pounds. It's unbelievable.
Then, of course, we have the original spare parts lists that have tool lists on them. And we have most of those for all of the tool kits that you see here for the saloons and for the all of the XKs. I have copies of those here if you want to look through them. But they list all the correct tools that should be in these kits. And then I mentioned the Porter. No, I didn't. Oh, yes, I did. Sorry. Yeah, that's that Porter book with the complete section in there on all the XKs by Payne. And last but not least is a JCNA publication by Steve Kennedy.
Which is very out of date.
It's out of date, but it's still pretty good, especially in the saloon kits, is the way I see it. That's available too, I
Here's what
believe.
this replacement will look like.
Excellent. Good.
As soon as Roger gets his half done.
Roger's still working on it. Good. Okay, so this is what we have in the display. Early XK or XK toolkits, tool rolls, and saloon toolkits. So the saloons are over here, and the XKs are over there. And we've got, you know, Mark 7, 8, 9, and all of the 60 saloons. Mark 2, Mark 1, Mark 2,
Mark 10.
Mark 10, 3.8S, and a lot of them are duplicate with other, you know, with models of the same time period. We also have an example of incorrect tools here.
Which is probably the most exciting part of the display here, because most of you people probably have these in your kits.
We'll recognize those.
Yes, you'll recognize these.
Right. We also have what we call unobtainium, and that's a couple of TW spanners, stubbies, that are in this little display case here. And I wanted to let you know, we have security cameras up there that are watching. So don't get any ideas.
That's right, I guarantee you, if you try to walk out of here, you'll be hurt.
We also have the XK jacks, the red jacks over in the corner there. We have all three versions there for the early 120, 140, and 150. Those are all in original condition. And we have an original air pump for an XK120 there. And right beside it, there's a Repro, a Bill Tracy Repro air pump. That is a pretty good effort, but you can definitely see the difference. Those are very, very rare, the original 120 air pump. And that's about it. We're just going to wrap it up. Do you have anything else, Tom, you want to say?
No, just feel free to ask questions. Don't be shy, and come on down and group around these things. Pick out the car that you have, and we can start talking about it.
Sir, before you begin, I've got one question that may benefit the group. If
Okay.
people need tools, what's the best approach to go on the hunt for?
eBay. It
Well,
really is.
Yeah, eBay is, and eBay UK, that's where there's a lot of tools.
Yeah.
And the pricing on eBay UK is far less than in the USA.
Really?
Absolutely.
But then there's shipping.
Shipping is several dollars. You know, if you buy a wrench or something like that, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
No issue.
Very seldom do you see complete rolls, though. You know, you have to pick up pieces. And a set of these unobtainiums, I've seen these go for as much as $550 for this pair. So they're very expensive. Question in front?
There's, I don't know if you've heard of it, but twice a year in the UK, there's what they call the International Jaguar Spares Day. Always at the same place, Stoneleigh, which is the National Agricultural Centre, which means a series of cow sheds where they usually have cattle shows and stuff, which is just to the south of where Brown's Lane factory was. It was on one of Norman Jewis's little test runs. There's a few pictures in the catalogues taken in Stoneleigh village. Anyway, that's usually March and October. And so if you're ever thinking of visiting the UK, of course everybody usually goes in summertime, but if you have a reason to go round about March, round about October, go online, look for International Jaguar Spares Day, Stoneleigh Park. The reason I mention it is because there are stalls that look like this. So you'd probably
I've actually
freak
been to
out.
it.
You know, and some of it will be repro, some of it will be genuine, and there'll be other stalls, and this is the real hot part of it, where 90% of it is junk, and there will be an original Derrington, whatever it is, that floats your boat. So just to say, if you go to the UK, around about March, around about October, it's worth finessing your arrival and departure dates to include Stoneleigh, because it's an area about, I guess, the size of the ground floor of this hotel, purely Jaguar. Now, of course, a lot of that is modern stuff. A lot of it is traders selling, you know, remanufactured dynamos or lights or modern wheels and stuff. But in amongst that, still less than in the old days, but still you've got stall holders whose stalls look like this. So if you're serious about tools and old stuff, and that'll be a lot cheaper than eBay, I think, because half the time, if you say, what do you want for this, I'll give you a couple of quid. Yeah, fine. And that might be a $50 spanner. I don't know. That's worth it.
Except for excess baggage.
A question?
Yeah, since that was interesting, and in case you don't go quite so far, if you happen to find yourself in Monterey during Car Week at Automobilia, which is the memorabilia show, there is one vendor who shows only tools, British car tools, and he's very, very thorough and knowledgeable, expensive, but worth seeing. Now, question. The majority of the spanners in Jaguar tool sets are black, okay?
Right.
What is your experience and suggestion in terms of refinish on those? Because I've tried a lot of different stuff and I don't seem to be able to get the right patina.
Yeah, I've run into that problem. I've cleaned up a bunch of tools, and you get that kind of a rust finish on it. And there's an expert in tool supply. His name is Tom Buckus in Pennsylvania. And so I asked him what he does, and he says bluing. And you'll see some tools up here that he did. And they look like the original black finish. I mean, even though bluing, if you just do it lightly, is blue, if you continue to do it, it turns black. And that makes a pretty good finish. There's another finish called black oxide, and that's a finish which is a chemical treating of the surface. And there's a company up in Massachusetts, Heat Bath is the name of it, that supplies that chemical. And it's used in the automotive industry, this blackening. It's used on like seat frames and that sort of a thing, and it has been ever since cars were first made. So it's an old black finish, and black oxide is what it's called.
Of course, nobody has any idea what that color actually looked like the day that the car rolled off the assembly line.
That's correct, and I think it
So what is
varies
your
as well.
position on that? Because
Yeah.
some are very dull and chalky looking, some are
Right.
almost semi-gloss black paint.
Some of them actually look brown. You know, the finish looks brown. I have a set that actually came in my Mark 7 when I bought it in '67. You can do the math on that and figure out how old I am, because I was 18 at that point. And it has a brown finish on it, and it's an oil quenched. There was a process of oil quenching that would turn a finish. It would turn an oxide a certain color, and that's another version of it. I'm not sure that all tools had the same finish, you know, because these tools were made by several manufacturers. TW was one of them. T. Williams, and Garrington is the second manufacturer that made most of the spanners. As far as the tube spanners, I'm not aware of who made those. Tube spanners the tube spanners, this is what I'm talking about for tube spanner. These are the nesting spanners, and they have an oxide finish on them. The correct ones, if they're correct for XKs and for 50s cars, are all center marked. And it gives the size of the end fittings. And there's BSF, British Standard Fine, and AF
across the flats.
AF across the flats. So those are the two. There's actually 6 of these in each one of these toolkits, plus a plug wrench. And the plug wrench stands alone and has the hole through it for the T-bar.
That kit right there has the original finish on it.
Yeah, these are
very nice
original.
condition.
So this, if you want to see an original black oxide finish, this is it right here.
What you don't want to do is to bead blast them or sand blast them, you know, to get the rust off. One thing we've done is to use steel wool with WD-40, and it does a pretty good job. I mean, it leaves some of the bluing and black there, and it takes the rust off.
Yeah, I think
It
a
kind of
tool,
leaves a nice patina.
I think a tool looks better as an original than someone trying to spiff it up and make it look like brand new. You go to a concours and you see these tool kits that look like they were just manufactured, and that's not, to me, that's not the way they should look.
Did you talk about the different 122 rolls and how you identify them?
You take that one. Okay.
Yeah, the original tool roll is on the corner here, and it was a orange burlap. And this is a correct and complete tool roll. And it
For
has,
which car?
For early or?
it has a big black grease gun.
Plastic
gun, yeah. And it has XK120 early, so the OTS and FHC. So that's the first tool roll.
There's a repro. This one here is a repro of that, which is an excellent repro. In fact, we got this from Tom Buckus, and it has the burlap material on the inside, and pretty well done.
Right.
The tools are correct, and I'll stand behind those tools as being 100% correct.
Pick
And
up the, under the one I made, pick up that original one that I was showing you. Show everybody about the square pocket.
This is the, no, hold on.
yeah,
This is the second generation tool roll for XK120. And you can see it's a green roll. And Steve brought that, and he said that it was actually came from Roger Payne
Yeah.
in Australia.
Look at the two short pockets on the left. You see how
Yep.
they're squared off?
Yep,
That's the mark of a correct 120 tool roll. The rectangular green one he has is someone's reproduction. We don't even know who.
right.
But you'll see a lot of those on eBay that are marked as 120. If it doesn't look like that in one of the four colors, it's not correct.
You're right.
What's determines early and late?
It's basically late is 53, 54. So anything prior
VIN
to
number? VIN number?
there is, I mean, but it's hard to tell because I don't think it actually, there's no demarcation in the parts list in the
Did
parts
it
book.
take place in, what was it, like October of '52 when they?
Somebody probably knows that, but I don't.
I thought you would know.
I'm sorry. I'll let you
but he
know.
does.
You want
Does
me to
Dawn know?
want me to make
Can we
it
get
up?
Dawn's input here?
It was actually September 23rd, 1952.
And now we know, okay.
Um,
I'm sure
The third-
you may have been out to my website. I posted it sometime back, and from I think his name is Picka, or there are several guys, including Dick Kavik, that I've gotten original pictures of tool rolls from that they know were with the car, and I got their chassis numbers, and they're out on my website. I can send that link out later. But I posted a number of them with the dates that they knew to be correct with the car. So it begins to give us some idea of what came with the cars.
Okay, so the third generation tool roll is a black tool roll.
That's part of the strap. Part of the strap, yeah.
With a kind of a grayish, whitish interior.
I think they call it vinide.
There's also a version of that is black. That's what I call the black white one.
We actually have one of those in our other stuff here. We didn't display it, but you're right. So there's actually three versions there, three different colors, and that's the storage on eight tool rolls.
All of those are for 120?
That's for XK120, yes.
Those three that he just talked about, there's others up here that are XK 140 and 150.
Right. Another question here?
What would be the most recent of, say, for a 1954 XK120 SE? What would that roll look like? Do you have an example?
That would be the black one. That would be the black one that I just covered over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the same roll that John has for his cars. His is 10 from the end. 10th car from the last drop head.
Yeah, my car was built August '54, so it was, they only built 10
So
after
it
that.
has the black white from the
Yes, yes,
Black one.
yeah,
I think that's where it came
right, so,
There's a gentleman who's been very patient.
another question?
Yes.
Just a comment. If you do tool cleanup to remove rust,
Yes.
don't use regular steel wool, use the synthetic, because you get rust from the steel wool embedded, and you won't know until days later because of the moisture being around. And don't ask me how I know.
When you say synthetic, are you
Well,
talking
like the 3M.
plastic or like a Scotch-Brite pads?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I generally do is I use a Remington gun oil and spray everything with that. And I just wipe it down with that occasionally, you know, a couple of times a year. And just like a gun parts, it keeps them from corroding.
More questions? Okay.
All right, come on down.
Let's take,
Went back 3 times and still
But I'll
didn't
say
find
that
it.
the first year we did this, we had 14 cars. That was in 2007. And in 2009, I think we had 18 cars. In 2011, we had 21 cars. And here we are at 26 cars. So anyway, if you all think you had a long day and spent a number of hours on the road and a few miles, I just want to let you know that we narrowed it down for you a little bit.
2 other numbers we should mention, and that is the number of couples who have been to all 4 of our MMTs, and that is the Halls, honorable mention goes to Bruce and Jane Murray, who missed one because Jane was ill. Otherwise, they would have been here. And Carl and Sing Hansen, who are not here tonight because Carl just had surgery on his eyes. Otherwise, they would be here.
That's it. Those are my numbers.
After we have
That's it, the two
dinner
other
and
numbers.
dessert, I'll get up and hand out some bottles of wine. You see, we have, first year I think we gave away little plaques. Most of the second was leftover concourse. And so I think it was the last time we did this, we decided, you know what? People have got all these trinkets all over the place. Give them something they really need. Wine and beer. So we will be handing out these wonderful bottles of Chateau Saint Jean Merlot.
I joined
MMT logo.
the guy that owned the furniture Herb Stratton. I joined when Herb Stratton.
We used to, the editor of the Coventry Cat before Pro was very artistic. And when we first did the MMT, he designed this, and I don't know where he got the base picture, but the pictures are Prevalent Eye and Carl Hansen and who's
It's Ray O'Brien.
and Ray O'Brien is the 4th. So they're all, those are the faces on the medical mystery tour thing. So we've been using it ever since. So,
we'll be giving them.
Is that from the Coffin Winery? Coffin
We have
Cellars.
the famous Ben Spoke Award that we'll give.
And we're having a tasting today, but we all
It's
missed
not
it.
quite a fancy bottle of wine. It's a bottle of Sam Ashley. That'll be it. Thank you all. It's me again. Okay, but at least this time I'm going to give out some wine. Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, I have to thank Carl Hansen and our neighbor David Moulton, who many of you know because he's a car guy, and he's a guy that has a purple Morgan that comes up to our place at our picnics and stuff. Huh? Yeah.
Is that the Jaguar M type? Is that what that is?
And
It has 4 wheels.
two of them were my guinea pigs on running this route the last time. And they had never seen it, they had never seen the instructions. And I tried desperately to sit in the back seat and not say anything. Boy, that is hard. Wait a minute, you dummies! No,
Don't take the bungee cords.
how come you didn't see that? Go, Anyway, I got to thank them for that. First question. All right, this calls for honesty.
That's pretty rare here in this side.
You got a point there. How many people opened the bailout?
We did.
Okay, you're doing 2 hands for you when you're having it.
The first couple of times we did this, at least half the people gave up.
Shannon.
Loser. Okay. All right.
Bailouts tonight. Bailouts tonight.
We're actually in jail.
Come on, all you bailouts.
Okay. Another thing. Ed Avis is working on planning a tour to Bar Harbor next year.
Then clearly you don't know how to pronounce it.
I'm born and bred in Massachusetts, so I can't say Bahama. Sounds like an Arab word, doesn't it? Bahama. Anyway, we will do a magical mystery tour in 2015, God willing, and we're still vertical. And we already know where it will be. I think. We definitely have a place. One of those 11 places we'll talk about. It's definitely on our list.
Italy. Oh, I'll go to that.
It is gorgeous. We probably would have done it this year, but their banquet facility was already
Tragic fire.
so. Anyway, right. So, the next question I have for everyone, now that you've all been honest about bailing out, there are 3 choices here, and it's really up to all of you. One choice is I go through all the list of clues and tell you how you screwed them up. The second is we can only focus on the things you really screwed up, and you can ask me, what about that? And I'll try to explain it. And the third is we just skip the whole damn thing, and you just accept the fact that you were confused out of your mind.
Number 3. Number 3. We're talking about being honest, right? We're talking about being honest, right?
Right.
It got
we win last, we win the bill.
We thought BlackBerry was a phone.
Unfortunately, the NASA's controls was put in by Lucas.
What was the CIA?
Anybody have any other
I have another question. We came up as a group of 4, and we worked together as a group of 4, and it made it a ball. And you had 4 people looking for clues and 4 people. Now, you might call that cheating, but you know, we made it, and we had a great time. So let me ask, how many people teamed up, and how many people did it on their own? How many people teamed up? How many people tried doing it on their own? Let me suggest, and how many that did it on your own ended up using the bailout? Let me suggest that I think teaming up is not a cop-out, it's a way to have a good time. If you didn't team up this time, let me suggest you do it next time.
Solely the values of teamwork. A member of Jane, but in addition to Jaguars, he owns a whole bunch of other British cars. And he also runs a storage and consignment sale facility in New Hampshire. But he invited me to come up to one of the meetings of the
British Cars of New Hampshire.
British Cars in New Hampshire, thank you. And I did. I went up and I talked about the Magic Lister Tour. 2 days later, all these people sent me emails saying, hey, we want to come. And I hope they had a great time. We also enjoyed having. Now we get down to how much of this one I get to take home and drink. You know, I have it all. I have to decide whether I want to give some of it away. Okay, so the way the scoring works, I hope that's not ice cream because I'll never get to it before it melts.
Oh, no.
The way the scoring works is we divide it up between those who went their own way, like Matt and Amy and a number of other people, those who teamed up. So there are team awards and there are individual. And there are another cut, which is the questions that you had to answer. So
No, no, no.
and identifying the pictures and your related questions. And basically 4 slices of pie we're talking about. And then, of course. Okay. So let's kind of cut to the chase. I'm going to save the best vocalization for last.
I know you're not.
Louder? Okay. I will speak louder.
Sneaky.
Okay, so let's start off with the 3rd place in the team questions. How many of those questions did you get as a team? 3rd place. And it goes to, Richard and Jan, and Warren and Jennifer.
Oh, there you go.
Who's taking it?
Okay. All right. So now I need a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
How would they have done without us?
All right.
Done without him?
It's a very quick.
It's only a Brit who would come up with a point of order.
Yeah. Actually, it's an Anglo-American, but a very quick point of order. I'd like to point out to everyone here that we may have to say thank you for the prize, but reject it on the grounds that This was a team of 4, whose navigator was me, with 3 ladies who decided that they were actually going to drive, and they ran out of batteries on the walkie-talkie. Thank you very much.
It's all about you on this one.
All right, number two. In the Russian award for team groups goes to our friends from New Hampshire. Every pair gets a bottle of 2013 Magic Mystery Tour Winter Wine. All right. Number 1. Look at that. Look at this over here. Are you lobbying over here?
We are number 1.
Are you lobbying over here?
I just know it. I feel like my bones.
Well, you're right. You're not.
We're good.
And I gotta say, you guys were just great. I mean, so many people. You know, there were a few clues that were a little tricky, like the CIA. Towards the CIA. And how many people got the jet?
No.
You're a jet all the way. To your West Side Story. That was Jaws! There was a big sign on the left-hand side of the road that was Jaws something engineering. A lot of people got that one. Any other questions about some of that? That was a scary movie. Brown's Lane. The name of the Let's move on. Now we're going to get to the individual. All right. Number 3. Incidentally, just so you know, if you have any disagreement with the scoring, send it first to the United Nations. And then I put it in the trash.
The IRS.
The IRS. Yeah, and then when they send it to me, I put it in the trash can. So, all results are final, etc., unauditable, and you have to take my word for it. But then I had to take your word for it that you didn't open this fancy package. All right, number 3. In the single individual awards for answering their questions, Matt and Amy. And we love having them. It makes us feel young because we're damn old. I haven't had a chance to talk to Matt and Amy about it, but one of the things, I have an E-type because one day I woke up about 10 years ago and I said, you know, I was in college and I was a poor student.
Can't hear you, Dennis.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. One of the things I haven't had time to ask Matt and Amy about is when I was a poor college student in 1961 and the E-Type came out, it was like, holy smokes, look at that car. And I nursed that for a long, long time until about 10 years ago. I said, why the hell don't I have an E-Type? And I couldn't find it. I've had 2. So now I know why I shouldn't have one, but I love it. And what I've never asked Matt and Amy, and I really am dying to know, is what started that spark with them? For me, it was the E-Type came out, it was like a wow automobile when I was, 20 years old. So someday we'll talk about it. Okay, number two. I'm trying to read my writing, which is getting more difficult. Number two, the Gardeners.
Last in, slowing,
Slow and steady. They're relatively new members of Jane, and we love having you.
Okay, number one. And it's proof that experience counts. It is Bruce and Jane.
What's remarkable is she can't see and he can't hear, so.
I'm going to talk about who was good at identifying weird pictures. How many of you got the one of the car storage? That's another one where experience counts because I did that in the past. I took this old barn and I put this Photoshop sign as classic car storage. I warned everyone, if you read the additional instructions that came in your package this morning, it said, remember, the Photoshop is in my arsenal of that old barn is definitely not looking for storage. This is nearly as nice.
So we call that X57 varieties. That's the makeup.
I think it was a 37, but I'm not quite sure of the year. It was a Chevy. Because no one else had a 6-cylinder overhead valve engine in a truck. Okay, I gotta move on. What year? I think it was a 37. I'm not sure. Alright, let's go on to the photo. Number 3 of identifying the photos and the related questions was a tie. It was a really, really expensive tie. Because, this is the team award, it was a tie between the New Hampshire group and the Guild, so I got to give away 6 bottles of wine. I don't have enough bottles of wine. How do we do that?
Very good.
That's right, we already got ours.
I can't count this like. Number 2 in team identifying pictures was the Halls and the Cools. Oh, that's right.
We were a threesome.
We were a threesome. That's right. Friend, that doesn't sound very nice.
In identifying pictures was those sneaky people from Maine. you go.
We are number one.
Please spill from away.
I'm running out of wine, so you only get one more bottle. Y'all can drink it tonight.
One for each.
Thank you to our teammates here.
All right. Now we have picture selection. We're getting to the end of this, so you don't have to put up with it too much.
We got ours.
Number 3.
That's yours.
That name. All right. Number 2. Gardner. And number 1. And identifying the pictures. Those sneaky, experienced people who show up.
That means the rest of us were that bad.
All right, drink each other's toast on the way home.
Now we get to the broken spoke. I mean, most of our players are down we cling to the British tradition, the broken spoke. So, we have 2 broken spokes to give away. One of them goes to Rich and Denise Barrett, who hung around getting emails from Jane. They signed up for a guest membership on our website in 2008. And for all these years, we never heard peep from them.
I was reading them.
I know, we kept sending them emails. You know, if you once you get on our email list, you don't get off unless you send a request saying, "Get me out of here, man." And you know, Lauren and I cooperated in managing that list to make sure that if somebody says, "Oh, I see you taking emails," we get you off the list. So, since 2008,
It was 2010.
maybe it was 2010. Who's gonna cook? Anyway, he finally came to an event, and I hope both of you had a great time.
Thank you very
And I
much.
hope we will see you for some other events.
You shall. And pay your dues.
And we welcome. Okay, now the second broken spoke. Unless somebody has a candidate, that we take nominations. So if you know somebody who really screwed something up, let me know. And we'll a couple bottles of beer, but I don't want to take But the second one goes to Josh and Diane, whose car went home on a flatbed. Started off with their beautiful E-Type with their Lincoln after a trip on AAA. That's it, I'm done. We still have G10, it's stocked with wine and snacks. So anybody who shows up at G10 is welcome. It's our hospitality room for the event. And if you all are, need to go relax and go, the bar's open. And tomorrow morning, we'll have weekend. Thank you. No one seems to know what's going to happen here.
Drawing on the parking lot.
Where's the timing gear?
Then we give up.
You have to pay a lot of attention. We're not going to win.
Winning is not the point, I think.
It's got something to do with hot dogs. I don't like hot dogs in the morning.
Well, good. You get to throw it away. This is the Weenie Funcana course. Now we start off at start. We pulled into the start. Get out of the car. Le Mans start. As soon as they start you, you get your weenie protection gear right over here. Wig for the men, slippers for the ladies, to be worn at all times. From the start, you back around and go this way. So you back all the way down here. With, oh, by the way, with a glass of water that you get from the bucket at the start. The ladies carry the water back into here. The co-pilot has to get out of the car, go around and put the water in the water station relocation center right there. Then you go this way. And you go bombing up here and you get to the first ball swap. Whichever side the ball is on, that person picks up the ball, hands it across the car, and it gets put down on that cone. Then you go up here and repeat the exercise. Take that ball, put it across the car onto that cone. Then you go up here to the Weenie Golf Course. There's the Weenie Golf Center right there. Both parties get out of the car, stop here, get out of the car, and each has to hit a ball into the cup any way they want, as long as it's hit with those professional golf clubs that we see sitting over here. From there, you go through here, go around here, and we're headed for the Weenie Toss, the signature event of the whole thing. Down here, through the cones, here's where you get up some real speed. Probably 5 miles an hour. And if you go over 60, you're disqualified. Pull up over here, driver pulls up, and we're now at the Weenie Toss Central. And we get one of those scrumptious looking weenies down in there. Throw it over the car as far as you can. Somebody will measure. Then you take off here, and we're headed up here. Here's the arrows. Don't forget the arrows. And you head up here to the old spare tire rolling center. The tire rotation center. The co-pilot gets out of the car, takes the tire, rolls it around the car using the rubber gloves, around the car, back against the table, takes off the gloves, gets back in the car, and by the way, you have to back into there, so you pull up here and back around with the back of the car towards that post. Okay, then we come out of here, following the arrows, we go around here to the Weenie Buzzer Center.
It's a very interesting contraption.
Huh?
It's a very interesting contraption
Yes.
he built here.
You got it figured out yet?
Very engineering wise.
Yeah.
No, I'm just looking at how he cut in the bottom.
Yep.
And
Well, the trick is some combination of letter and number.
I got it. We have a plan.
Yeah,
I
okay.
have a plan on how we're going to work this.
You got a plan,
The
huh?
mostly efficient way.
Yeah, okay. Well, we worked out one too. Anyway, this is some combination of letter and number will make the buzzer go off, and until the buzzer goes off, you can't leave. When the buzzer goes off, you jump back in your car and you head up here to the ball bucket swap. And the goal is to both get out of the car, take the 2 buckets on your side of the car, the 2 balls in the buckets, and go over to the other side of the car and put the balls in the other bucket. And then you go up here. Pat's grinning. She's got the stopwatch. You pull up here to the tape. The passenger gets out, takes the tape off, the car leaves, and there our official timer, Pat Centauri, records the time. So we have some combination of time and the weenie toss distance. And that's it. So everybody's getting ready. Down there walking the course and figuring out what this is all about. We have an official cheering section here. The weenie cheerleader right there. She's getting ready to cheer everybody on. Miss Weenie of 1982. No, not that long ago. Maybe, yes, go Weenies!